up, YouTube? Today we have a 2014 Chevy Sonic. We're doing the number 2 ignition coil. So we need to take these bolts out first. They're all going to be 10 millimeters. I'm going to take the rest of them out, but I want to show you the underneath the intake. You can take these out without removing the intake. That way you don't have to buy extra gaskets to do a job on the front section. But you are going to need one of these small heads or a swivel, something to allow you to get under that angle. And then when you're loosening it, just allow that wrench to lift up. Don't spin it out too quick because you don't want to crack the top. You just want to have enough room to be able to pull the wrench out, and that way you can spin the rest of that bolt out with your finger. And at that point, you're going to have full access to be able to remove the top, and you'll see all the ignition coils. So from here you have the connector, but you'll see I have all the bolts off, so we can move this panel. There's a hose connected to the other end. I'll leave it on. You can remove it if you need to, but I just leave it on, move it to the side. From here, the connector is just a red safety tab. Push that back towards the vehicle to loosen it. And then the tab, if you look straight under the bottom, you can lift it up, clear the little tab in the front, and then same thing with the connector, just push it back towards the vehicle. It'll slide right off. Once you get that off, you're going to have that 10 millimeter bolt right there in the front of the coil. And I'm just showing you to take a look at your connector when you remove it. That way you can see if there's any corrosion, or you can see kind of blackness from burning, and that way you can eliminate a different issue if it's not just the coil. From here, make sure you spin that coil 90 degrees before you lift it, because it won't clear that intake, and you don't want to break that back side of that. Once you have room, I always like to vacuum out, especially the spark plug galley, where you remove the ignition coil from. Vacuum that area out. Once you have more space, vacuum out, clean up. These did not come with dielectric grease. Some coils do. These ones didn't, so I'm adding a little bit there. That will help with the connection as well as the removal next time you have to do another install. And you'll also want to add some to the connector. So right here, we're just going to tighten up on that 10 millimeter bolt. I would recommend using your torque specs. I know what it felt like when I took it off, so I'm going to just use my hands. And from here, adding a little bit of dielectric grease to the front end of the connector. This is going to help next time you have to remove that connector. These ones with dielectric grease normally come off a lot easier than if it's just dry, especially with Arizona monsoons. But once you get that connected, at this point, all we need to do now is just put those bolts back in. We want to go from the bottom to the top in a star pattern, inside out, up, down, left, right. Good to go.